Welcome to the ACEVEDO video store. Today we're going to review the Dragon the Hero, aka Dragon on Fire. Not to be confused with another Bruceploitation movie, Dragon on Fire, which is also known as Enter Three Dragons. But in case, the movie is from 1979 or 1980? I might have a contingency with that, but I'm going to explain that later after the review. But in case, produced by Joseph Lai and Thomas Tang of ACEVEDO films. It is directed by Godfrey Ho and starring Dragon Lee and John Liu for its 45th anniversary or 46th anniversary. I will get into that later. The main core story is about these two characters who their descendants from 20 years beforehand had a rivalry against each other. So in the present day, or the next generation as the title card implies, they still have the rivalry against each other until they decide to team up in order to fight against a crazy guy who wants people to fight each other for his own entertainment. Along the way, the character who's played by Dragon Lee helps along in their fight. So that is the basic story of the film. I did really like the movie, I did enjoy it, although I do have some issues with it. The story was interesting, but I don't think it was very well thought out. Like, for example, it's like John Liu's character, when we get introduced to him, he reveals that he's a wanted fugitive to the Master, the main antagonist of this movie, by pulling out a wanted poster with his face on it. Now, granted, I actually like the production detail. They made actually a poster for it because this was a very low budget production. But if you're a wanted fugitive, why would you carry your own wanted poster? Like, what if you left your bag somewhere? Some guy goes into it and is like, oh, wanted fugitive poster. And there he is. That's the guy. So there are some small issues like that I don't like about it. The fight scenes are really great and they have a wide variety. Mainly because you got John Liu, who is mainly known as for his kicks, and Dragon Lee, who's mimicking the style of Bruce Lee, of course, but he has his own touch to it. There is a weird fight scene that I kind of find odd, where it's like, I think it's Dragon Lee's first fight scene, where he has to fight against 3 thugs, and he beats them all down with his finger nunchaku, which is a single nunchaku stick that could only attach to one finger. And after beating them all, he makes them crawl under his legs? Why? But the movie does end with a great fight scene where we have all 3 characters fighting each other along with the antagonist. And Philip Ko is in the movie, which I mainly know him for Ninja Terminator. He's one of the ninjas in the movie, but Philip Ko is like pretty great in this movie as well. Although with the final fight scene in the movie, the particular version I saw, which is on the Game of Clones Bruceploitation Volume 1 set, the only version of the movie you get from that Blu-ray set is apparently the US cut of the movie. And the editing at the end feels a little off. I seen the movie for the first time, I removed this DVD, on the Tough Guys of Kung Fu DVD set. And that's a different version of the movie. It actually has, for that ending mainly, better editing, because it's like cutting back between 2 fight scenes. And the intercutting isn't that great, but I'm presuming you're trying to extend it a little bit longer, because it's like, oh, the fight scene isn't over this time, so we got, chop it up a bit more so there's continuous cutting and all that, but it's not that well done. There's some odd editing choices here and there that I don't like about the version I saw in the Blu-ray set. Although the editing for the movie is mostly pretty good. So that's another issue I have with the movie, but it's mostly with the version that I saw, and that was the only version that you will get from the Blu-ray set, which is the best way to see the movie in terms of the video restoration. The cinematography is really great in this movie. For most of the time, it's pretty well thought out, and there are some very interesting artistic scenes throughout the movie. For example, when we get the Master, the main antagonist of this movie, he's in this, like, I'm presuming his house, or it's like a mansion, and he's like in a room, and it's only lit by candles. And you get this interesting type of like weird avant-garde type of lighting, where it's like the greens and yellows and the purples pop out more. I really love that look in the movie. Although the cinematography is great, I think one shot that kind of like bothered me, but it's kind of funny. It goes into like a bit of the behind the scenes aspect of the movie. I'm not sure what time period, but it's set in a during time period where I don't think red handlebars attached to stairs were a thing. But it's kind of like funny. I was like, oh, that's a thing I didn't notice. But then again, the first time I ever saw this movie was like a 4:3 Paniscan version of the film. Although most of the soundtrack cues is stolen, the music that they sold the movie was actually pretty cool and fit well with the story. Now, it's a common practice with Hong Kong films, and I actually made a list of tracks that I noticed. So the opening and closing theme, it comes from a Western film, but I'm forgetting what movie it is. It's like flying across my head. I think it's a Lee Van Cleef like Western film, which, yeah, it's kind of vague to put it that way. There's also music from Star Wars. This kind of surprised me when I was watching the movie for the first time. I was like, music from Star Wars? Because, like, you know, today, like, you know, Star Wars licensing is, like, you know, part of, like, very complex, mainly because, you know, it's owned by Disney and they want to protect the brand, protect the property. We also get, like, the music from Dawn of the Dead from 1978 from George A. Romero, which is the Goblin soundtrack. This movie is pretty notable for Wu-Tang Clan fans like me because it's sampled for Liquid Swords.
I see you using an old style. I wondered where you'd learned it from.
You know very well. It's yours too.
I had forgotten. Will you show me?
And that's actually how I first found out about this movie, because I was watching the movie for the first time. When those audio clips played, I was like, oh, Liquid Swords? Oh my god! I should also comment is the humor of this movie. It's more serious compared to the other Dragon Lee movie I reviewed last year, The Golden Dragon Silver Snake. But there is some like humorous moments throughout the movie. For example, Bolo Young actually appears in this movie for like probably a cameo appearance, but he only appears in the first fight scene, and his character in the Mandarin version of the movie is named King Kong, and there's like some humorous parts throughout that fight scene. What caught me off guard a little bit, there's a talking parrot in the movie, and it curses as well, which is like pretty funny, and one of the Caucasian characters in the movie calls it a peacock for some reason. Fun fact, that actor, it's slipping off my mind. I think his name is Alexander something. He also appears in The Dragon Lives Again as James Bond. Overall, it's a pretty good film. Although it has its flaws, I think I would probably give like a 3.8 out of 5 stars. Now I own 3 copies of this movie. Let's start with this one in the back. The Tough Guys of Kung Fu DVD set. This is the first time we've seen the movie. Also seeing Golden Dragon Silver Snake on this. Killer Machine is also this one with Sonny Chiba. It has the English dub with the English title cards. Cripple Masters, Rage of the Dragon, which actually is on this Bruceploitation set here. Golden Dragon Silver Snake is not on this set, but although looking through the bonus features, they did do an HD scan of Golden Dragon Silver Snake. Part might be featured in the second volume of the set or like a future volume. I'm not sure. And of course, the movie comes on a double-sided DVD. At least you don't get like that much compression with it, like compared to like if it was a like Mill Creek DVD where it's like 3 movies on one side. Now, with this version, it contains like an alternate version of the US version, which is a weird way to say it. The opening has a different title card and the sound mixing is different. In the DVD here, the Dragon on Hero title card is different because it's like a red background with I think yellow text or slightly red text that was, you know, glowing and all that. But with the Bruceploitation set, it's a black background with yellow text. For some reason in the audio mixing throughout that title card, it's a little bit different. It's just a little off. I'm thinking maybe that has to do with like the elements not being that great in terms of audio quality wise. And this is the second copy I have, which I got after this one, and didn't really realize it was the same movie because it went on the alternate title, The Dragon the Hero. This has the Mandarin cut of the movie. It's a weird video remaster because it's a widescreen copy of the movie. It's a Mandarin dub with like English and Chinese subtitles. So it's from a theatrical print. And this is, I think, the only release you could get it from. There might be another release I'm not aware of. And the compression of this just really shows. And I was like, oh god. In the reviewing this movie, I watched the English dub, which it's decent for a Hong Kong dub, but there is like some like odd stuff here and there. Like, I think the English dubber for Philip Ko and Dragon Lee were the same actor, so they kind of sound similar to each other.
This little coin will pay your trip to hell. You come here, since you're so interested. Fight me.
And this features an advertisement for The Dragon the Hero. Oh my gosh, we have that release right here. And also, the disc art is similar to the cover art, but also has advertisements for Secret Life of the Ninja, which is also known as Deadly Life of a Ninja, and I think there's an alternate title because I have another box set of this from Brentwood. It has that ninja movie there, and that one's really weird.
They also use women to deceive the men. And while the men are thinking of sex, the ninja move in to kill. They are utterly ruthless.
And the best way to see the movie is this. The Game of Clones Exploitation Collection Volume 1 Blu-ray set. Anytime I think about it, I keep calling it the Enter the Clones set because it features the documentary that I've been long anticipated for and all that, which is the Enter the Clones of Bruce documentary. And this is how they put the disc in. Unlike the Shopper set where I put in separate cases, I have not done this to this. I'm trusting it so far that it won't ruin the disc, similar to the Godzilla set I have. The movie appears on as one of the last discs right here, disc 7. There it is, along with Rage of the Dragon. And now I'm going to talk about the year of the release of this movie. It says here, copyright 1980 Transcontinental Film Corp. I think that company was the U.S. distribution company of the movie that, got released in the States as Dragon on Fire. Fun fact, there is an alternate title called Dragon the Great that apparently appears in some press material, but I don't think that's been used anywhere else. So that's where the confusion comes from. I can't figure out if this movie came out in 1979 or 1980. Maybe late 1979? And then, you have this copyright, comes out, it says copyright 1980, including the booklet and, the interviews and the documentaries here. They always say the movie came out in 1979. Probably it was shot in 79 and, released in 79, late 79. But yeah, this is an amazing box set. I highly recommend getting it. I have the one where it has Big Boss Part 2 on it, the elusive Ultimate Limited Edition 8th disc, along with Black Dragon versus the Yellow Tiger movie. It features some of the extended scenes that appears in these 2 copies of the movie, but as a bonus feature as deleted scenes because they couldn't find film elements for them, which is unfortunate. It makes me wonder whatever happened to the film element that was made for the video transfer for this release of the Mandarin version. And they couldn't include the Mandarin dub in the Blu-ray set because of licensing, unfortunately. Overall, it's a pretty good movie. If you're interested to see him, I suggest getting this Blu-ray set, the Game of Clones set, because this is the best way you're going to see the movie at all, because it's in HD, remastered in 2K, widescreen. There's some missing stuff like alternate opening sequences, but it's fine. We have the HD version of the movie. If you don't want to spend drop over $100 on a Blu-ray box set to get all these movies, maybe try to go after the bargain bin DVD releases. This was the only one I know you're going to get the movie in widescreen, but it doesn't include the English dub. But this one includes the English dub, but it's pan and scan. But in any case, my camera battery is about to die. So that's all the review. Have a nice day, and later on, come back to our video store.